Last weekend, a barrel racer with a horse terrified of the trailer, an endurance rider with a dangerous case of race brain, an Arab coming back to be saddled after an 8-year retirement, a girl who is meeting her new horse for the first time, 2 equine therapy center horses, a handful of an off-the-track thoroughbred, and a BLM Mustang who's terrified and refuses to be caught or haltered, all came together in the same place. They all had different issues, but Tom had the same question for each one of them. Stay tuned, because whatever you're dealing with your horse, one of these stories is going to hit home for you.
Here it is. We just need to put our panels back in place, but this thing is ready to roll.
Last weekend, we welcomed Tom Moates back to the Hope Horsemanship Great Hope Arena. We had a great clinic with many different horses, with many different questions and issues, many different breeds. And I've been thinking about how to share the recap of this clinic, because what happened was really pretty stunning. We had horses with trailer loading issues. We had horses with groundwork questions. We had horses that were being ridden at pretty high levels that still needed some help coming together to be present and centered and willing. We had a Mustang who many of you know, honor in his story. He is still afraid of the halter. We're getting more to the core of those issues as well. So out of all these stories, one single thread wove them all together. Tom kept coming back to where's the horse's mind? Not what is the body physically doing as the first priority, but where is the mind? Because if you've lost the mind, you're going to have a way to find it again. In this video, I'm going to go over 4 of the horses that Tom worked with and the ideas that wove together those sessions that might resonate with you. First, I want to talk about Mary and Dusty. Dusty is a fabulous quarter horse, and Mary's a really experienced rider. She's been doing barrel racing for many years and also has a lot of other disciplines under her belt. But this particular horse, and she knows this horse well, he is still afraid of the trailer. And to get to the clinic, it took her 45 minutes to get him loaded. And when he showed up, as usual, he was a stressed out, sweaty mess. So one of the things that Mary wanted to work on, besides some really fun Liberty things that she and Dusty have been doing, was how can she get this horse to be more confident and comfortable riding on the trailer? Well, the problem that we sorted out, one of the most important aspects is that you want the horse to bring his mind to be centered and where he is. So if the horse's body goes on the trailer, but the horse's mind is still outside the trailer thinking that's where his safe place is, well, then he's never going to really settle in that trailer. So they worked on their second day, getting Dusty to load and unload, realizing that this wasn't about trapping him on that trailer, until he started to get comfortable and confident with the going on and off process. And meanwhile, Tom was really working to help that horse realize that the trailer was a place of peace. Now, there's a lot of people out there who talk about making the wrong thing hard and the right thing easy. But what it ends up doing sometimes in practice is sending that horse into a lot of work and driving them so that they feel pretty bad about being outside the trailer and then better about getting inside the trailer to basically flee what's happening outside the trailer. And while that is an application that you could see in that phrase, Tom's approach is to just get busy outside the trailer, is what he calls it. And his pressure is way more indirect. So allowing Dusty to come off that trailer, knowing that we weren't trapping him, and then outside the trailer, Tom might get his flag working or make some noise, but he's not chasing Dusty or driving him in circles. He was just letting Dusty know, this place out here is a little chaotic and it doesn't feel like peace. And then when Dusty thinks that through, uses his mind to say, what if I got on the trailer? That seems to be a quiet, peaceful place. He's now making that choice for himself, not out of fear of being driven, but out of looking to solve an imbalance in his environment. By the end of that session, which we put at the end so that she could load him up and then get right on the road, When Mary got home, she reported that for the first time, Dusty got off that trailer. He wasn't soaked in sweat. He wasn't anxious. And for the whole ride, even when she stopped to get gas, he was calm in there and seemed really settled for the first time. So that's a great story of how the mind, when it's lost, not on the trailer, with the horse, can really become a big problem. And when we get that mind centered and making the decision that the trailer is a better place to be, things can really change. Next, we have Griffin and Breeze. Breeze is a big old gray Standardbred that was off the track that Griffin has been working with for a couple of years. When she first got her hands on this guy, she realized that his brain had learned to completely tune her out. And we definitely saw this as a case of a horse who would lose his mind. So the fact that she wants to get him suited for endurance racing, which is her sport of choice, is a big challenge because he would be incredibly well suited for racing, and yet he is very prone to a dangerous case of what we call race brain. So when she's out with the group, if his mind goes with the other horses, there is no communication line left. He just shuts down and goes, regardless of if Griffin's with him, not with him, etc. And so she hasn't been able to get him into an actual endurance event yet, but is continuously working on opening up connection so that his brain is accessible when they need it the most. Well, the good news is after a couple of years of doing a lot of great work with this horse, her riding went fantastic on day one. So the one fear that Griffin has left, understandably, is getting him into a canter, because the higher in speed you go, the faster things happen, and that shutdown can become really strong, really fast. And so his propensity to be able to just shut her out and start a runaway is still in there somewhere. So we all decided to help support her, encouraged her to try in a really controlled environment to see if now she's ready to get up there and try some cantering. Well, the fascinating part was her first step was to try in the round pen on the ground to just see if he'll pick up that canter on command. And that is exactly where they stayed on day two. Because what Griffin found when it started to come to the canter is he would tune her out again, and no matter how big she got on the ground with a flag, with any tool, he would begin to just tune her out and do his own thing. And that, though it looks very different on the ground or in the saddle to most people, is the exact same issue. It's his mind getting lost to her and tuning her out completely. The good news is she went home with some homework she didn't even know she had to do. And if she can get through to him asking for the canter on the ground in a controlled environment, she's going to have a way better chance at making this work when she's on his back and trying to do it in flight. Next, I want to talk about one of my favorite pairs from this particular clinic. And that would be Ursula and her off-the-track thoroughbred, Eddie, or Edward, depending on how it's going that day. And Ursula is new to our community, and I was really excited to welcome her in, as she has the attitude that she can learn something from just about anybody, and it's such a great way to live. Eddie, he got the nickname Buns of Steel and the title of best looking horse of the weekend. He was a very stunning thoroughbred, but at the same time, his mind was just a little all over the place. He was such a busy-minded horse with a lot of big opinions. And Ursula, thankfully, is an expert rider who's got many years in all kinds of disciplines, especially around showing, jumping, some trail riding. She has done just about a little of everything, and she had a lot of skill in handling Eddie, even though he could be quite a handful. When she brought him into our Great Hope Arena to work with Tom, on the first day, they just kind of got to know each other and to see what was happening. But the second day, Tom picked up on something that I think really helped Ursula get a view on what's going on. And that had to do with every time she stopped Eddie, his body would stop, but his mind was still in forward. And the way you can tell that is that the horse's body will stop. Well, because the mind hasn't actually stopped, there's a push through and a resistance happening. And you can see that physically because his body, his feet would stop, but his chest would get higher, his neck would go up, and his head would brace, even in that stop, into a pretty bracy, resistant pose. When Tom pointed that out to Ursula, she really got to see what it looks like when we're good at handling the body, but we've pretty much lost the mind in the process. So a little bit of work on how to get that horse to soften after the stop is asked for, so not only in the body, but in his mind, really started to make a change. And because Tom has a little more experience in how to get these changes going, Ursula turned over the reins and we actually got to watch Tom ride this amazing thoroughbred for a while, and to start to put in some places where Eddie would have to use his mind in the same place that they were working on, instead of just use his body, but put his mind on all the exterior environment. This horse was doing 16 things at once. And while he was able to expertly move his body around to the requests and commands of the rider, what Tom really wanted was to see that crazy energy that was busy all around him in this kind of chaotic system to come into focus and to be able to actually be present in what Tom was asking him to do. And when Ursula is able to get that really working for them, I predict that he is going to be not only a stunning horse, but a powerful creature who's focused in on what he's doing and can work with the rider without that chaos and confusion that seems to be popping up sometimes between them. And I can tell Ursula is just the person to get that done, because once she gets her mind on something, I'm thinking it's going to get there. Cowboy is the fourth horse of this first video of Clinic Recap. And he's pretty special to me because he belongs to a local equine therapy center and run by my good friend Marcia. And what I love about this place is they're serving the vulnerable of our local community and population. And she does it through horses and in a way that also always keeps the horse in mind and is always supporting the horse to be able to do their job and feel good about the work. So Cowboy had somewhere along the line, and he's a little new to their center too, so he's still settling in. But at some point, he's learned that it's better for his mind to be elsewhere than with the work and present. And that creates a distraction for him, and he can't quite grab that sense of peace that's going to help him be able to help others. And so even when I went to get him out of the stall the first day, he was convinced he should be somewhere else. And I know that because when I entered the stall with the halter, he walked over to the back door, which is a half door, looked over it, and it's like he said to himself, that's where I want to be. Where he was looking was where he was sending his mind, which was a place that he thought would be better than in there working with me. I was able to bring his mind back into the stall before I haltered up his body, and then we went out to do some work. What we found in the round pen with him is still, he was convinced that his mind would be better off somewhere else. And that looks like a horse that's distracted, that you might ask something of and they're not available because their mind isn't there. So then their body might start to comply, but then if something brought his mind back, he would startle as if there was something new, when really he had been there physically the whole time. But what we were seeing is his mind wasn't present. And so coming back present with his mind was almost startling to him when something happened that brought his mind back. So over 2 days, I worked with him, Tom worked with him, and Marcia had one of her interns, Alana, work with him as well. And the great part about that is this horse will have to be okay working with different people. But if the communication is clear for him, he can learn that peace is found by being present with his body and his mind, and that it's okay, and that we're here to support him even as he's supporting the others that come in to work with him. So I think there's a lot of hope for Cowboy to start feeling better and settling into his job with consistent, clear handling, and we are connected to them on a regular basis, and so we'll be helping that process along, and we may even share some of Cowboy's story going forward right here on our channel with Hope Horsemanship. 4 horses, 4 very different situations, different breeds, different disciplines, and different places that they're coming from and going to. And yet, one thread pulls it all together, and it's, where is the mind? Here at Hope Horsemanship, I really believe it's the truth that sets us free. The question becomes not where do we think the mind is, where do we wish the mind is, but the real truth of where is the horse's mind at present in the work. And when you sort that out, that's the beginning point where you can start to move forward into a place where the mind and the body come together, and that creates a powerful relationship for going forward. Where is the mind is the one question that Tom always comes back to. And that is the first question that you can ask with your horse that's going to begin to make a change in everything you do. Stay tuned for the next video where we'll round out the remainder of the horses from the clinic, ending with what was possibly the most challenging horse of the whole weekend, which was Honor, the BLM Mustang, who is still struggling in fear to being caught, handled, or haltered. The great thing about his story is that we'll get to watch it all going forward right here at Hope Horsemanship. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Also, we have the second Tom Moates clinic coming up at the end of June. So if you want to get involved, you can join us around the round pen or possibly still get a participation slot while they last. So get in touch with me if you want more information about the June Tom Moates clinic right here in Warm Springs, Virginia.